There's big news. First, it was the Spicer case, Spicer versus McDonough, and I think it was March 8th of 2022. And in that case, the veteran, and these are the facts, the veteran suffered from leukemia, and he was service-connected from hazards like benzene on an aircraft carrier. The problem is he developed arthritis in both knees. It had nothing to do with the leukemia, but because of the medication he had to stay on for life in order to keep him alive under the leukemia, he couldn't have his knees replaced. And he was so bad with his knees that he actually was in a wheelchair. So he filed for service connection for his knees because but for the service-connected leukemia, he would have been able to take care of them. Of course, he was denied by the VA, the BVA, and the Court of Appeals for Veterans Claims. But then luckily, he got to the Federal Circuit, which is our hero. The Federal Circuit said, no. You are entitled to benefits if you have a problem that is caused by the service. And but for this leukemia, you would be able to take care of this problem and you wouldn't have it. So that was a case that came out a few years ago, but something really, I hope, really good has happened from that. The VA has now been rewriting. So when you go to a compensation and pension exam, if the VA just wants you evaluated about whatever your condition is, they do a compensation and pension exam. But if they want to know if it's service connected, they ask for a medical opinion. So now the VA is rewriting the medical opinions to incorporate this but for. And under this case, there was also information about aggravation. It also allows you to get benefits under aggravation before you would not get these under the way the VA was interpreting the law. So that is being rewritten. And so now, May 1st, the M21 was updated. Remember, the M21 is what the VA uses as a guide. If it's not in the M21, they don't care what the law is. This is their law, okay? It has now been incorporated into that and will soon, I don't know what soon means with the VA, but soon be incorporated in these new forms that are coming out, which are supposed to ask a number of questions. So before, they would just ask, is this service connected? And they'd say no. They should have gone into secondary service connection. They should have gone into aggravation. They should have gone into a lot of details. They never did. And now they're going to be required to do that. We are understand under this form. So this is great news for you. As soon as these forms come out, we're going to let everyone know and publish them. And you need to make sure from now on that you get a copy of these forms, okay? Before it was just pretty much a yes or no with a few details. Now it should be pretty comprehensive.
The but-for analysis using Spicer case as the example is the veteran had service-connected leukemia, which required him to take this medication, and he ended up having bad knees and then a wheelchair. But for the leukemia, he wouldn't have had to take this medication, which put him in a wheelchair. And therefore, that is service-connected, secondarily service-connected, or it's residual, whatever. It's related to the fact that he had this leukemia because of service.
And then the court went into several examples, one of which was a veteran got tuberculosis in service and was given a medication to treat it, which caused tinnitus. The tinnitus is service-connected because the medication he took for a service-connected condition caused it. They also went into obesity, which is a really hard thing with the VA. The VA just hates that. But they were saying, say a person has severe service-connected arthritis in both knees and therefore can't exercise and becomes obese. And the obesity causes hypertension, heart disease. Those should be service-connected, and you should go through the one. He's service-connected for this, which caused obesity, which caused these. And the court clearly said these are things that the VA should be granting.
Yeah.
You know, cases come out, and we get really excited, and then we sit around and wait. And we're still waiting to see what these forms say, but we think it's really good news for veterans.
Hey, Nate here, Carol Ponton's video guy. The video you just watched is expanded on further in this one right here. Learn something more. Increase your rating. As Matt always says, knowledge is power. So go ahead,